Yeah, I'm Dr. Mauray Tolbert.
I'm an author, a researcher. Just got back from Africa, lived in Africa for the last 4 years in Kenya. I definitely am a soldier against white supremacy. So I stand on that 10 toes down. So
Me and my wife, we went to Jamaica, and this was, I'm bad with years, but it's right before COVID had came. We went to Jamaica. And as we were coming back, they was talking about this COVID thing. Like, even when we were there, like, oh, COVID. Like, what is this? Because when we went there, we didn't have to do any, just like get on the plane like normal. Mm-hmm. When we came back, they was talking about wearing masks. So then when we got back, I'm like, oh, again, the conspiracy theorist that I am. I said, oh, man, I suspect something's playing. I said, I want to get the hell up out of here. So I sold everything that I had. I had a truck and business at that time. I was making some decent money. And I just sold all my material possessions. And my wife did the same, and we went, took a little bit of money to Kenya. Said, well, shit, let's buy some property, build upon it, and sit over here and wait for the world to happen. I've never been there. We've never been to Africa before, so.
Okay. What we did was just do mad research, see what worked best for us. Okay. Since in Kenya, the cost of the dollar goes way further. They speak English, and they had opportunities where you can possess land. Because most countries, African countries, will just like Ethiopia, unless you get married to an Ethiopian.
A foreigner can't even go there and buy a car.
We built a building. We have apartments, actually 2 apartments, and then one like a villa. I see why a majority of Africans are fighting to get over.
No disrespect or shade to nobody,
But just in my opinion, my experiences, I've been to I don't know, 6 or 7 different African countries. I just got tired of it because it's colonialism.
I blame the white person off top, the white supremacists.
They're not free there.
Everybody's just poor, and you see this in all kinds of different countries. There's a lot of poverty. The governments are just destroying the people. So,
for example, in Kenya here recently, this was right after I left. The president, Ruto, he had passed a tax bill. From the information that I had got, it was like something like 30-something% on everything, 38% or some ridiculous tax. And then, and it's like 80% of the people in Kenya are unemployed. So, and then the president actually is a puppet for the United States. So, I mean, you can clearly see that, like he just does whatever the United States tell him to do. And the time I was there, like they was allowing Bill Gates to come in there and do all kind of experiments. Well, they'd have it on the thing, they'd be happy about it. Like, Bill Gates is here. So, like, my illusion of what I thought Africa was, my experience trumps that illusion. So now I see it. I got this fantasy in my mind that, oh man, the motherland, what the right. Nah, it's the real world though. And it's everything's good and bad. Like even here, here in Babylon, there's beautiful things. They also worship white people all the time. More places than you would think that they wouldn't have such an affinity toward white people.
Why do you think that is, in your opinion?
Well, the colonization of the mind. They've been down bad since the white supremacists came over. The history, of the Berlin Conference, how the Caucasoids came into Africa, divided it up. I talk about that in my book. It's the Whiteness of Destruction, the origins and consequences of white aggression.
The whole purpose why I wrote it is because I've been having built up thoughts and anger and all kind of different types of emotions over the years, based upon all my studying and researching on the subject on black oppression, mainly. Worldwide, but just even living in America, to see the progression of how white supremacy has continued from slavery till now, how it's not much different. So the purpose is to try to bring awareness awareness of what enemy we have as black people, black Americans. I'm mainly talking about black Americans. And I do talk a little bit about Africa, but I'm mainly just talking about black Americans. Right here, right now, we got a problem. And so I think that the more that we become aware to this problem, how it exists, how it works, and not be deceived or fooled, then that at least help us to avoid some pitfalls and cracks. Then at that same time, we should be able to, once we identify that, come together in unity at some level, whatever we are doing, to provide, to produce some kind of constructive results for anything that we're doing, which will initially affect everybody within our circle. So it's a domino effect. And it all starts from understanding what system you in. I think white people love me. My best friend's white. You know, I'm not no offense for people who got best friends who are white, but
if anyone, I would recommend people to check out our dear elder
Huey Fuller Jr.
So he has an analogy. The white supremacist is the warden. If you look at any prison system, you have a warden who controls the whole prison. The prisoners in this prison are black people. Now that it used to be like that in plantation, like it was the master in the big house and the slaves on the plantation. So now you bring it into a whole global scale. The whole planet is a system of white, where the white supremacists are the wardens of the prison, and the prison inmates, our skin color is our prison uniform. So because you have brown skin, melanin in your skin, now that allows someone who does not have melanin in their skin to dominate, control, mistreat those who possess melanin. So that's the system of white supremacy. You have white people who are globally in control of black people, and it's done by nefarious tactics, murders. I mean, history this shows the atrocities that occurs underneath the current structure that we have in place at this very second. We all need some kind of therapy, especially living in this society. Man, it's the best thing to do is to lie to yourself while you're fronting and lying on everything else on your social media, you this, you that. You're just telling lies. That ain't really the truth about whatever you're saying. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. It's the fakeness. Yeah. And it starts there, man. Start telling yourself the truth. And when you start telling yourself the truth about what white supremacy is, who your true enemy is. I always ask people, because people argue, man, it ain't that bad. Even though when you start telling yourself the truth, you say, oh, every problem you got, you can trace it back to some kind of reason why your skin doesn't allow you the same goodies and benefits as those ones who have a different skin color. It's not about me liking white people, but I said, does the gazelle, if you're a lion out if you're a gazelle out in the bush, you think the gazelle's gonna be friends with the lion? I've been on several safaris. It don't seem like they friends. Same with us. If you see a rattlesnake on the ground, you think you're gonna be his friend? No, it's your natural enemy. Us as black people, we do that same thing. We try to get close to the very thing that is to our detriment, and because history has shown up until this very second what has happened. So, man, it's all war tactics put out by the white supremacists. They don't want to control the media. They don't want to control the images that people see and how they perceive things. They have great power over that. And a lot of people fall victim to that. Sis over here was saying on the way here how the Hispanics in her class are so disrespectful, dropping the N-bomb every time, just mad disrespectful. And this is the entire system of white supremacy, which is so many facets, but just dealing here in America, black people, like the spotlight is on us. It's like the sun shining on you. We on the bottom of everything. Everything is black people's fault. Donald Trump just got shot. Now they showing black people who was sad that he didn't die. That puts a stain on every black person. There's a whole bunch of white supremacists out here who love Trump, and they got mad guns. They got mad artillery. And I talk about that in my book, and that's why I had to get it off my chest. But dealing with the book,
It's an outline to try to show the history of how they started 200,000 years ago. I talk about that
all the way up until the current date. So, and they are planning
a race war. That's what the white supremacists. I document everything in my book. I have all my sources. I mean, I go through tons of information. I had nothing but time to do while I was in Africa because I had nothing but time, so I got to get it off. But the white supremacists, there's a book called The Turner Diaries. This book was written in the 70s, and it's a white supremacist manual of how they're going to start the race war. Timothy, all the old terrorists, white terrorists that's killed black people or blown up buildings, and like Timothy McVeigh, for example. He studied the Turner Diaries. It was also Dylan Roof and the school shooting that happened up here in Columbine. They read that manual. The dude that killed them people up in Buffalo, the white boy with the AR-15 at the grocery store, he had that manual. So what they do, the white supremacists have been reading that kind of a book for at least 2 generations. Not to mention what their great-grandpa was doing and their great-great-grandpa in the stories and having a penis floating in some alcohol. That's what they would do, is castrate you and have it on the mantle a year. Very, very sick stuff. But this has been passed on from, you train up a child in the way he should grow. When he gets old, he should not depart from it. White people are not born racist, but they are taught that. And then they have everything to lose because they're about to go extinct. I'm like, I want to know the truth. A lot of times, as I started to read the Bible, I say, well, I go to church, you really don't get the truth. I had my daughter when I was like 19, so I'm like, let me try to, it started to change. So I'm like, let me get into the church. Like, that's what I was raised into. Not saying I was going to church, but I started reading the Bible, actually reading it. And I'm like, well, hold on. And so I eventually found out after reading that 7 times. I literally read it 7 times, and it took me about 10 years. It's a waste of time. Man, it's a waste of time. I'm like, man, this is BS. I said, I'll put my foot down. I'm standing on this. And so from that point, I've always just been wanting to know the truth. And as I started telling myself the truth, just going back to white supremacy, it's always there. That doesn't stop me from doing it. I've traveled all over the place, but I know it's there. I can be affected by it at any moment. I gotta keep my head on a swivel. Might be some crazy white fool that's gonna jump out with an AR-15 because he's just mad today. The book it gives a history lesson on it, and just it also, I have a section in there where it tells people how what type of supplies they should have, like food, water, bug out bags, things like that. Disaster preparation. So I think all black people should this should just be up front and center, like, hey man, that's the lion over there, or that's a snake, the venomous snake. It's gonna bite me. I don't care if it slither on me and it licks me on the ear like just with his tongue. Oh, tickles. Nah, man, this food could kill me at any moment. So let me be aware. You stay over there, snake. I need food with you at an arm's distance, to protect myself. All black people should be in that awareness, especially these fools talking about trying to start this race war. And if Donald Trump had got killed, oh man, these white folks would have went crazy. They would have went crazy. And they blame black people for it too. And then you guarantee the media would put some dumb nigga on there that they've already been exposed, and like, yeah, I'm glad, niggas dancing and twerking, for Donald Trump dying. Man, you know how many black people get killed after that?
Yeah.
We are literally in a war, whether you want to believe it or not. We in one. I'm gonna go sleep tonight, and then I'll wake up tomorrow. Everything will be all right. I'll buy a new TV, or they got some new weed out, or whatever. Something to mask the pain and tell yourself a lie. I'm not gonna face the truth today because it's too much for me to handle. I'm just gonna turn on the TV. Let me flip on Instagram and go whatever the latest thing that's personally like. I think about my family members too. Like, man, if they could just read, understand
that it's not as simple as they. I mean, like that was a long time ago. That was around Martin Luther King's time. That's over now. No, it's not. Especially economically. Man, the black people is at such a low level economically.
They don't even have to necessarily be just running around lynching you. They killing us softly.
It's the lowest on the totem pole economically. We are the most in America, the most economically challenged group of people in comparison to all that. That's done on purpose.
Redlining, can't get bank loans, discrimination practices, job hiring.
There's an excellent book by Michelle Alexander, The New Jim Crow. She outlines a lot. I quote her at the top of the book. She outlines how nothing has changed. All we are just, what changes is the way that we think, because they just constantly bombard us with all kind of mad, evil energy,
or lower, I won't say evil,
lower or higher vibe.
we never get higher vibrational information from the dominant society. What we always get is a low vibration.
Keep us on a lower vibration.
Our ability to produce the amount of energy that it takes to sustain this kind of ridiculous concept. Because a person got white skin, they better than the person that got black skin. You know, but we are the ones fueling it. Like in Africa, they love that. They think the white woman is Mary and Jesus, every white male is Jesus. They literally work in the part that I was at. A white person come in, they say, somebody, nigga, you lying, nigga.
No, I'm not lying. I'm not lying.
Mm-hmm. Well, knock you out the way. Move, nigga. White man, come here. I'm telling you. Nah, cool, man. Nah, cool. Anyway, yeah, they have an affinity. That's one thing. I'm like, man, I couldn't take it no more. Man, I got stories. One time, my mom, my daughter, my son, my sister, and my nephew, they all flew out. I was all excited. So they get there. It was cool. And so it's me and my wife. She has this great idea to go to this white supremacist in Kenya, in Diani. Everything's controlled by white people. Like all the restaurants is either like German, Indian, Italian. It's all white people. Russian. Yeah. That's all white people. It's a whole, at least 5. The Dutch, Polish people down there, and they own like the beach, all access to the beaches. Even to the point where some places won't even allow you in there if you are local. You can't even go inside.
Wow.
So anyway, my mom comes. We go to this restaurant. I told my wife, it's nothing to do there.
After you do something a couple times, just like,
you can only go to McDonald's, 5 times before you get sick of it. I'm just using McDonald's as nasty food off top, but you keep going to the same restaurant over and over again, it gets old, so you do that for 4 years, like it got very boring. So there was a new restaurant that came called the Funky Monkey right there on it, oh man, it looks nice. They got all the lights, booming systems, so we go in there, and I told my wife, I said, I don't want to go in here tonight. She's like, I'll show your mom a good time. So we go in there. And I hadn't seen my daughter. I hadn't seen none of my family members. It's been like 3 years. I hadn't seen them. So and it's like a nightclub. They got music playing, like strobe lights, everybody drinking. They got a dance floor. They in there boogieing. So I'm talking to my daughter, and it's loud. I'm we're yelling and screaming at each other. This white man gonna stand up and say, "Don't talk to her like that." Oh my God! My brother, when he was out there, he said, "Man, what you should have did is pulled your phone out." But I went crazy. I lost my mind. I said, "How dare you, troglodyte?" I called him all kind of names. I won't go into, but I stood. I'm about to hit the dude with the bottle. Then his woman stands up, and she's not even white. I kept telling her, like, "You a bedouin, sit down," because they literally they come there for sexual conquest. White people, I've seen it. I got video on my YouTube where, oh man, they come there for sex. It's sex and stealing. Wow. There's no other reason to come. Anyway, we get kicked out. The bedouin, she must have been maybe like Indian or something. I don't know. She was like, "Black lives don't matter. Black lives don't matter." Now at this point, like I say,
And the white man, now he sees I'm serious. Now he's like, oh shit, I think this food, like I'm not the dude who you can punk. Yeah. That's what they go down there and punk the shit out of them Africans. I'll be like, oh my God. Tons of stories. But anyway, this particular one, this is where I was ready to get his ass, but then here come all the black people in there come and get me. Sir, please, you must play the fool. What the hell you mean play the fool? They do this to me all the time. They trying to calm me. I said, what? Man, this dude clearly was in the wrong. And we're in Africa. And y'all come, we had to leave. They made us, well, sir, you gotta leave since you had to come. What? He's the one that started this shit. What you talking about? I got kicked, my whole family. We all got kicked out, So, and they were like, man, sorry, man. I gave them a free meal after that. That kind of stuff. Man, that just put a bad taste in my mouth. I might as well go home and go through that. I gotta live here with flies that just consistently all over the place. I got YouTube videos, and I had to, it's a sacrifice living there. And you gain some things too, but I got tired of that. I said, Trump may most likely be the president. What does that mean for black people? How does it, whatever president's going to be, don't really matter. How is this going to affect our pocket? How are we going to be able to survive? How are we going to be able to put food on the table? These are real life issues right now. How are we going to pay the rent? I just lost my job, or they downsized, or whatever. So the more that we stay focused in on that, I think that will greatly help us to reduce the possibilities of falling down past mistakes that you may have done in the past, because we tend to go through the same thing. I don't see myself in the same boat again. Avoiding pitfalls is the main point. Why are we trying to just navigate? And first thing is being able to live, but the second thing is being aware of our surroundings. We live in a system that is designed to keep us down. The universe also, for each individual, has shown them and given example upon example, whether how subtle or direct it is. And no matter how you want to understand it or not, but I know for a fact everybody who got melanin in their skin has had an example in one way or another. Whether you paid attention to it or not, is here or there. But dealing with microaggressions, teaching people, we having a conversation like, oh man, this white lady said something to me at the grocery store, some passive aggressive gesture, and so instead of you just cussing her out, this lady, you'll be able to say, hey man, this is some passive. I suspect this is a white supremacist off top. I gotta tell y'all about that. So I written down, and this is what I stand on that. I suspect that every white person is a white supremacist. I suspect it. Somebody's walking down the street. Alright, we ain't even had a conversation. You didn't see me, but I just seen them. I suspect that person could be a white supremacist. I suspect. Why? Because they have white skin. Just because that. So they can be a white supremacist. So only time that a person is confirmed a white supremacist is when they do some harmful act to a black person. Whether it's a passive aggressive, some white lie, or they flat out murder you, from one extreme to the next. At that point, I go from I don't suspect it anymore. Now you are a white supremacist. So now you're the lion and I'm the gazelle. Somebody hear this, oh man, that's weak talk. Well, we live in a system. Go out there with your gun. None of these niggas be running up here on the police with their gun. Police going up, oh no. Hands up in the air. You watch First 48? I suspect that anybody who has white skin can practice white supremacy. Now, practicing white supremacy can do something as subtle as you ask a white person. And I know people who, you've asked somebody for information and they've given you false information on something. Hey, where's the McDonald's? Hey man, just turn left over here. And he really is really right. And you're like, oh man, not my fault. Or cracking jokes. Anytime a white person starts to practice white supremacy, then because they can, now at this point you're a white supremacist, and to me, so that means that you're an enemy. I can't trust you. That don't mean I'm gonna allow and kill you. That don't mean I'm gonna call you names. That means I'm gonna stay the hell away from you as much as I possibly can because you're a threat. At some point,
ball some. Y'all was cool at first. Y'all went and hung out at the bar after work. Y'all was drinking, smoke some weed or whatever. You sitting there with your friend. Before you know it, you go back to work. Now your friend went and told the boss something. Now you get called in the office or something, or vice versa. Especially with women, the white woman in the office is atrocious. And these are all white supremacists. And the reason why I keep saying it is because let's not call it a racist, a bigot. I'll get right to the point. It is a white supremacist is someone who hates me because of my skin. Not because I said it, based upon history. So, and they said, Thomas Jefferson, all the founding fathers, we are a white supremacist nation. Got it. So now we all need to get it. And once we got it, all right, now we can move on to doing some constructive things together. And we can also avoid some of the things. And whenever the opposition come to us, have you guys heard about the turkey-led hut? Sure, they was making millions of dollars. It's a black-owned company in Houston. The white people came in and tried to close them down. I don't think they got closed down, but yeah, a very famous restaurant in Houston. The whole city ganged up on them, to change them or try to shut them down because they had, from my understanding, they was all these complaints. They was going to court and all this stuff. So now the city is coming down on this black restaurant. That's what happens to black people. It'd be the entire system that's against us. And it's us trying to swim upstream, and you got this juggernaut that's just constantly put in pitfalls and maneuvers. Not necessarily coming to kill you directly, or it could be like in the case of Breonna Taylor, kicking your door to come shoot you dead. It's got to be some real bad stuff that's going to happen to us before we wake up. Oh shoot, and right now, it hasn't happened yet. But at some point, there's going to be a wake up call for